Most people outside America think loneliness comes from lack of money, lack of freedom, lack of choices. But what if I told you? Some of the loneliest people on earth live in the country that has everything. America has comfort. America has convenience. America has opportunity. And yet, millions of Americans go to bed every night feeling emotionally invisible. No one waiting for them. No one asking how their day really was. No one noticing if they disappear. Here's the uncomfortable question nobody likes to ask. How can a nation with so much still feel so empty? Have you ever scrolled through social media and felt connected for a moment, only to put your phone down and feel even more alone than before? Have you ever been surrounded by people and still felt like no one truly saw you? That feeling, that's not weakness. That's modern loneliness. In America, life moves fast to fast. People wake up rushing. They drive alone. They work long hours. They eat quickly. They sleep tired. And day after day, real human connection slowly gets replaced by efficiency. The problem isn't that Americans don't want relationships. The problem is that the system rewards independence more than intimacy. From a very young age, Americans are taught something powerful. Don't rely on anyone. Be strong. Handle it yourself. Move out early. Figure it out alone. Sounds empowering, right? But here's the hidden cost no one talks about. When independence becomes the highest value, asking for emotional support starts to feel like failure. So people stop sharing. They stop opening up. They stop calling. Not because they don't care, but because they don't want to be a burden. And slowly, quietly, loneliness settles in. Let me ask you something honestly. When was the last time you called someone just to talk? Not for work. Not for updates. Not for a favor. Just to feel human. In many American households, neighbors don't know each other's names. People wave, but don't visit. They smile, but don't sit. Compare that to many other countries, where community isn't optional, it's survival. In parts of South Asia, the Middle East, Africa, or Latin America, family isn't just emotional, it's daily life. Meals are shared. Stories are repeated. Arguments happen face to face. Love is loud. Support is visible. In America, support is often silent. People move cities for jobs. They leave childhood friends behind. They restart life again and again. New city, new apartment, new coworkers. Same loneliness. And here's the irony. Americans are constantly surrounded by people, but rarely surrounded by belonging. Let's talk about technology for a moment. America is one of the most connected nations digitally, but emotionally, it's one of the most disconnected. Texting replaced talking. Likes replace listening. Stories replace stories. How many friends do you have online? And how many would actually sit next to you when life breaks you? That question alone makes many people uncomfortable, because deep down, they already know the answer. Now let me tell you a real-life example that happens every single day. There's a man in his 30s. Good job, nice apartment, health insurance, a car, a routine on paper. He's winning, but every Friday night, he eats alone. He scrolls alone. He sleeps alone, not because he wants to, but because his life never made room for connection. He works hard. He's polite. He's independent and completely lonely. He tells himself, this is just adulthood. This is normal. Everyone feels like this. But here's the truth. Loneliness isn't normal. It's common, but it's not natural. Humans were never designed to live emotionally isolated lives. Even studies in America show that loneliness increases anxiety, depression, heart disease, and early death, sometimes more than smoking. So why doesn't anyone talk about it openly? Because in American culture, struggling silently is often praised. You're strong if you don't complain. You're successful if you don't need help. You're respected if you appear fine. But appearing fine is not the same as being okay. Let me ask you another question. And be honest with yourself. How many people truly know the real you? Not the work version, not the social media version, the real one. If the answer is no one or very few, you're not alone. Ironically, that's the most common answer. Now let's compare this with cultures where loneliness exists, but feels different. In many non-American societies, people may struggle financially, but they rarely struggle emotionally alone. They argue more. Yes. They interfere more. Yes. They lack privacy. Yes. But they are rarely invisible. In America, privacy is protected, even when it becomes isolating. People respect boundaries so much that they stop crossing into each other's lives. No surprise visits. No unplanned talks. No emotional interruptions. Everything is scheduled, even connection. And emotions don't thrive on schedules. Love doesn't wait for calendar invites. Connection needs presence, not convenience. Here's another uncomfortable truth. America celebrates success, but rarely celebrates togetherness. You're applauded for buying a house, not for maintaining friendships. You're praised for promotions, not for emotional availability. And when life gets heavy, people don't know where to turn, so they turn inward. Or worse, they turn numb. Let me ask you this. Do you think having everything automatically means feeling fulfilled? Because millions of Americans have learned it the hard way, it doesn't. Now here's the lesson, and this part matters. Loneliness is not solved by more money, not by bigger houses, not by better phones. Loneliness is solved by intentional connection, by choosing people over productivity, by choosing vulnerability over appearance, by choosing depth over speed. Even small changes matter. Calling instead of texting, sitting instead of scrolling, listening instead of fixing. And yes, it feels awkward at first. Yes, it feels uncomfortable. But connection always starts with discomfort. If you're watching this and you feel lonely, especially in a world that tells you that you shouldn't, there's nothing wrong with you. You're responding normally to an abnormal lifestyle. And if you're someone who feels connected, ask yourself, who around you might be quietly lonely right now? Because loneliness is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It hides behind smiles. Before this video ends, I want you to think about one thing. Who would you miss if they disappeared tomorrow? And now the harder question. Who would miss you if those questions made you pause? Good. That pause means this message reached you. America doesn't lack resources. It lacks rituals of togetherness. And until connection becomes as valued as success, loneliness will continue to grow, even in the land of abundance. So here's the truth nobody likes to admit. Having everything means nothing if you have no one to share it with. If this made you think, comment one word that describes how this made you feel. And if you've ever felt lonely in a crowded world, you're not weak. And you're definitely not alone. Because sometimes, the loneliest place isn't poverty. It's comfort without connection.